All right, picture perfect people, we are officially a full month into fall, approximately at this point. And as a result, we are starting to transition out of that aeration seeding season that we've been talking about for months and months now and into fall leaf season. This comes with its own fertilization needs, and we're going to be talking about that over the next few weeks. But before we get into anything about your soil science and your grass health, I want to talk to you about the importance of keeping the leaves off of your lawn right out of the gate. In this video, I'm going to go over with you the 3 big ways that most people remove the leaves from their lawn. However, before we go any further, I want to make sure that you guys have subscribed to our channel if for some reason you haven't done so already, so that you can stay up to date on all of the other fall and winter videos that we have coming up over the next few months. I'm really excited about all of the great content that we have coming out, so be sure to subscribe, comment below, and let me know if you have any ideas about stuff that we can talk about as well. And check out our other social media too. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Pinterest, so there's lots of options depending on what your favorite way is to keep in touch with us. Now, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the kind of impact that fall leaves can have on your baby grass. Is it okay to still mulch your leaves when your grass is that fragile? And how soon should I be tackling leaves? We broke all that down, so be sure to check out that video from a few weeks ago if you haven't done so already. But for this video, I want to dive a little bit more into the method by which you are cleaning up your leaves. Leaf cleanup is a huge part of any homeowner's service practice if they've got even one tree in their yard. It's a component. So we're going to break it down into raking, mulching, and blowing your leaves. Which is the best, which is the worst, and when you should even be doing any of them, if at all. Go ahead before we get started and comment below to let me know what your preferred method is of clearing the leaves off of your lawn. Are you a raker? I hope not. Let's look at raking first so I can just go ahead and get the worst of them out of the way. Raking is by far the most traditional and expected method of leaf cleanup that anybody's going to be employing. It's cheap to buy a rake or two, and it's what we all grew up doing because it was that one chore in the fall that we all got roped into and tried to make a game out of. If for some reason you've been living under a rock and you have no idea how to use a rake, basically it's like a giant comb that is digging and scooping up all of the leaves into a pile, sometimes on a tarp, and then that pile can be relocated to a different part of the yard. Straightforward, right? You can get your kid to do it. There's an appeal in and of itself. It's pretty easy to outsource raking to a younger generation. However, it is by and far the worst method of leaf removal for your lawn. But why, you might ask? Well, think about it. There is so much aggression taking place on your turf level where that raking is involved. For my lady viewers, you may remember the old beauty tip about brushing your hair 100 times every night, but if you're really brushing and digging into your scalp, you can set yourself up for scalp damage. It's the same thing with raking. That clawing over and over again on your grass is not only tearing up your adult turf and uprooting it and breaking it, imagine what it's doing to your fragile baby grass that's only germinated a few weeks ago. If you remember from when we talked all about how to take care of your baby grass seed, it is super fragile, not just for the first few weeks, but for a couple months after it germinates. That's why it's so important to mow as gently and efficiently as possible so that anytime you're getting on the lawn, you're getting off very quickly. As a result, overzealous raking, especially in the same area multiple times through the fall, it can be a direct cause of thin and patchy areas in the lawn next spring. So I get it. Raking by and far is the cheapest method in terms of equipment use, as well as the ability to outsource it to younger generations. But when you've invested so much in your aeration seeding service that fall, the last thing that you want to do is damage your lawn and that baby grass by the following spring. Blowing the leaves in your lawn is hands down my favorite and most recommended way of keeping leaves off of your grass. Where there's all of that aggressive and damaging action taking place with raking, blowing is a lot more gentle. Yeah, if you're really, really intense about it and you're pointing straight down, you might uproot a little bit of grass, but by and large, if you're blowing just kind of parallel with the surface of the ground, so you're pushing the leaves across the yard, that's going to be way, way less stressful to your lawn as a whole. Now, I know we're talking about machinery now, not just a rake, so it's going to be a little bit more of an expense in terms of that upfront investment, but it saves you a ton of time. It really does, especially if you're making a good investment in like a backpack high-powered blower rather than just the little electric handheld one that's just, you might as well just at the leaves, it's not doing as much. But a good backpack blower, like the ones that we use on a commercial level, are going to make it 5 to 10 times faster to clean up the leaves in the first place than trying to rake is going to. And like I mentioned, in terms of good practices, the best way to blow those leaves is parallel to the lawn. So you're pushing them across the turf into your designated natural area or a pile on a tarp where you're going to remove them. Whatever the case, just blow. Push them. Don't go raking and digging and dragging and all of that damaging stuff. Now, while blowing is definitely easier than raking, and it is absolutely the best thing for your grass, mulching is kind of that middle ground. It's not as cheap as raking, but it's faster. It's not as aggressive as raking, but it's not quite as gentle as blowing. So mulching up the leaves is when you use a lawnmower, riding, push mower, whatever you want to do, to go over the lawn multiple times and chop up those leaves into finer and finer pieces. The idea is that these tiny little bits of leaves are going to fall into the lawn and break down and decompose and kind of add a composting effect basically to the turf. Now, there are some arguments about whether or not this is the best practice on a soil health level, and it really just depends on your area and actually the type of trees that you have growing in your yard. There are some trees that have an acidity to their leaves, and so if you are mulching and composting a bunch of leaves at a time into your soil system, it actually can lower the pH of your soil, which if you already live in an acidic soil condition, you don't want to make that worse. So it's food for thought, but it's not always the case. It really just depends on your location. Now, there should never be a point at which you have let your leaves pile up this thick on your lawn to the point where even mulching them up is going to leave just really fine bits of leaves completely covering your grass and smothering it out. So you should never let it get that bad. Leaves should be just as or more frequent of a cleanup as mowing is. Weekly is key to maintain consistency. However, if things got a little out of control, it happens, Halloween was crazy, and you do have a significant buildup, if you are mulching your leaves with a mower, it's a good idea to bag them the same way you would excess grass clippings and remove them from the lawn. In general, I like having the leaves removed no matter what, whether it's by mulching them or blowing them into a natural area or something like that, just because it's one less thing that your baby grass is having to contend with as it develops. So there you have it, the picture-perfect words of wisdom on how to remove leaves from your lawn during your fall leaf cleanups. I have turned the camera because I'm following the shade because it is very bright outside today. It is clear and pretty because we're officially in fall. Thank goodness it actually feels like it now. Plus the grass back here looks a lot better than it does right over there, which is something that a lot of people are experiencing. We've had one of the driest beginnings to fall on record as well as one of the hottest. So it's been very, very tough for a lot of lawns that are seeing delayed germination from their seed. However, because we've started to get some showers and things like that, and it's finally doing what it's supposed to do weather-wise, you should see your seed pretty much blowing up in the next couple of weeks. So keep me up to date on that. Like I said, comment below, give me an update on how your aeration seeding is going, if you're seeing good growth, are you starting to mow yet? And stay tuned for our video in about a week because it's going to be a breakdown of our GIE experience. We're really excited to be there right now, so keep me up to date if you're there as well so that we can meet up and hang out. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back again next week. Stay tuned for everything awesome that we have coming out and comment below to let me know if you have any ideas too. We'll catch you later and I hope that you have a picture perfect day.